All right, folks, I'm trying to decide if I should purchase Forza Motorsport. Technically, Forza Motorsport 8, which is the latest on the Xbox series of racing titles. They're the most, can you say the most sim? I guess at this point, um, the most sim racing experience you can get on the Xbox. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, but um, yeah, there's a bunch of questions about this that I have. So quickly, I'll just say the first actual racing game that I played was Pole Position 2. This is actually the first game I remember like vividly playing. And yeah, I mean those graphics, the sound effects. I mean, they were amazing for the time, and it was a fun experience. It was a fun experience, and actually, I'll get into this later, but Forza, when they released Forza Motorsport 6, had an amazing commercial, and they actually paid homage to a bunch of the racing games that came before it, including Pole Position, which I thought was really cool. So, but that was just like super arcade racing. I mean, in a game like this, all you can do is turn right, left, and like there's no nuance to it. It's just the most arcade basic experience you can get in terms of a racer. When I really started to get into racing games was on the PlayStation 2. So Gran Turismo was huge on the PlayStation 1. I don't think I had a PlayStation 1 at that point when that came out. Uh, and so I skipped over the original Gran Turismo. And I also skipped the second Gran Turismo. I just never played them. But when I had a PlayStation 2, which had so many great games, I mean, really like had great experiences with the PlayStation 2. Uh, Even though the graphics were not as good as the Xbox, the original Xbox, but I I really got into. I just really enjoyed Gran Turismo 3 A Spec. It was just a great experience. It was just they had this like license center where you can go like take these like courses where it literally taught you how to drive. I feel like I'm actually a much better driver than I would be because I played Gran Turismo 3. Like legitimately, I think, and that's not a silly thing to say because if you look at people, like there's a movie for the Gran Turismo series that came out recently or is coming out. I should see the date. I should look for the date for that. Where people literally just played the Gran Turismo and got so good at it that became real race car drivers. Now this is not the version that was out at the time where they became drivers, but this was like definitely a big, just a game in the series. People really respect this version of Gran Turismo. And of course, Gran Turismo continued on, 5, 6, 7, I think they're on as well. I have one of them installed on the PlayStation 5. I don't even know which version it is, what it's called. But anyways, it's still a lot of fun. It's a great series. A couple of the things I want to point out as I'm working my way towards whether or not I should buy Forza Motorsport is so the original. We'll start at the PlayStation side, but I think one of the interesting things to know about both Forza and Gran Turismo is that some of the games in the series actually supported multiple monitors. So you could actually if you had Gran Turismo 5 and you wanted to have 5 screens set up at the same time, you could technically do it. Now, you needed 5 PlayStation 3s, 5 monitors, and 5 copies of Gran Turismo 5. And also, if it was the same on the Xbox side, you needed a hub, like an Ethernet hub, to connect them all, because that's at least how you connected them on the Forza side. So you could have up to 5 monitors set up on the Gran Turismo side, but on the Forza side you could actually have 3 monitors. You could have a triple monitor setup So I actually tried this on the Xbox 360 when everybody was getting rid of their Xbox 360s and they were super cheap. You could find them at garage sales for like $25. I got two extra Xbox 360s because I already had one, and I got two extra copies of Forza Motorsport 3. Actually, I did it. I definitely remember using it on Forza Motorsport 4, but I believe it also worked on 3. Um, and it worked. It actually, if you play Forza Motorsport 4, whenever you start a race, there's a scene where like the car kind of like revs and the camera kind of tilts the car. To me, that always looked a little bit weird. But when I had the triple monitor setup, it made it look so much more natural. So if you have the ability to do that, I recommend giving it a try. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was not something I kept set up for a while. It was kind of I don't know, it was an experiment. I had a triple monitor set up for work, so I had to use my monitors and do a bunch of stuff. And like I said, I also needed an Ethernet like hub to make that work. But it did work. It definitely did. It was awesome. So that's a cool thing. The other thing about this like more sim-ish racing side of things, which I'm considering Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport in that category, is that some of them support these Fanatec wheels. So these are like, if you want to get into sim racing, you can buy a steering wheel and pedals from a company like Fanatec. There's other companies that offer them. In fact, the Xbox 360 had like a really actual cool controller that I used with the triple monitor setup, which was just like, it's like a floating controller. It's just like, you pick it up, it's completely wireless, and you just tilt it, almost like it was a Wii or something like that. But that was actually quite interesting. I still have that actually in storage. So if I ever try this again, I will film it so folks can see that process. But as you can see, like, these Fanatec wheels are no joke on pricing. So these can get like very, not only is it a large dollar amount investment, it's a big space investment. Most people who end up getting into sim racing and buying a wheel and pedals and maybe a shift knob, like, they end up pretty much sitting in boxes or sitting in like storage because you need a dedicated space for this. This is no joke. Like, you need to literally dedicate a space in your house, like almost like a whole room. Like, you don't need a whole room, but you need a space within the room that's dedicated for that. That's because not only that, you need like a chair that works, because just having the wheel isn't enough. The wheel, you can either clamp the wheel to like some sort of desk, or you can screw it down so it's more secure. So there's also like these rigs that you can buy that, some of them include a racing seat, some of them don't. Like, you can see here, like, here's some cockpits, and like, just for like some brackets. I don't even know exactly what these brackets are for, but it's like, you can see the pricing there. I mean, here's just a clamp to clamp one of these wheels under your desks. Just like, so far we're just like looking at clamps. But I was hoping I could see like some more substantial cockpits, but let's see if we can just go through this really quickly. If it'll let me go through here. And maybe, anyway, my point is that it's expensive from a lot of different reasons. And so it's gonna always be niche because of all these things. The cost to get into it. It's like, okay, you got to add a steering wheel, and you pick what kind. I mean, this is all the new stuff. Alcantara steering wheel. It's on sale for $399. This is no joke. I actually had a wheel. I Actually, I have a wheel. I'll show you what I actually have in a second. So, yeah. I mean, this is like, the prices are, it's an investment. It is an investment. So anyways, yeah, let me show you real quick what I had. I just need to capture a window, and I need to select this. Where is it? I had a Fanatec wheel, and it was a Porsche wheel. If it'll let me find it, where are ya? Profile, Porsche manual. 1 second. Okay, this is the wheel that I have. It's a Fanatec wheel. It's it's smaller than a normal steering wheel, but it has buttons on both sides and then on the bottom as well. And I mean, there's a bunch of buttons everywhere, but this one actually worked with the 360, the Xbox 360, and it also worked with the PlayStation. And I actually was able to get this working. Now that I'm thinking about it, I got it working with the Xbox One X, with using Forza Motorsport 6. But in order to do that, there was an additional like kit you needed that converted this from, the Xbox 360. You can see that 360 button there, so that it would work with the newer consoles. So actually, I went through that whole process. I do have some video footage somewhere on this. I try to dig that out, but yeah, and this had like a shifter knob, which is cool. There was actually, I think, 2 different types of shifter knobs, but yeah, and a bunch of cables and things, and I don't know if I still have everything that's needed to make that work, but it essentially, yeah, I did have it working at one point, and I gotta say, it was amazing. The problem that I had was I didn't have a proper racing chair. So I ended up using, like, basically I got this chair at a garage sale, and then I like screwed it down to this this like board that was from an old closet, basically like the door from an old closet or something, and and then it was able to like make a little bracket for the wheels to sit in, so the wheels wouldn't move because you're pressing down on the brake and the clutch and pedal, and so it's like there was a bunch to it, but it was never really like a perfect setup. These are the pedals down here, and I don't know what this additional box is. Oh, I guess that's just saying like you could plug it into the PC. So, anyways, back to like the reason I'm showing that is like, for me, like I find creative and inventive ways to get my foot into the door. So if I want to try out like sim racing, I'm not going to buy the newest, latest, greatest thing. I'm going to buy something that's slightly older, check it out, get something used. And a lot of times the thing about this racing stuff is you can actually get these things used at a much better price, and they're 9 times out of 10 they're going to be in unbelievably good condition because people like me buy them, enjoy them, and then realize they don't have the space, and so they kind of sit there unused. Some people do use them on a regular basis, and it's a beautiful thing. So now we're getting into like this whole purpose is like, okay, well, oh, and I just wanted to show, because I did have this set up too, that there are plenty of YouTube videos. So if you don't believe me about the triple screen setup here, like this in the picture in the middle, you can see 3 360s, 3 monitors, and a wheel. So it's definitely a real thing. So, okay, so and this is, so Forza for me, I always felt like Gran Turismo was great, all the way back to Gran Turismo 3, and my experience was great just because I didn't play the previous two, but I'm sure they were great too. I mean, I know that they are great games. So, but I had an issue with Gran Turismo, which was around this time, which is they would say that like the newest Gran Turismo was going to release at a certain time, and it would always get delayed. Always, always, always get delayed. And this is the meat of it. Forza came along when Gran Turismo was king. Like nobody could touch Gran Turismo, especially on the console side. And Forza came along, and what they did really well was not only they released good games, which is really important, but they released games on almost like on a schedule, like it was on clockwork. Like you knew that a new Forza game was going to come out every so often, right? And it was much more often than Gran Turismo games ever did. And so, like when the Xbox One and the PS4 came out, everyone was saying, don't get an Xbox One. In my world, everyone was saying, don't get an Xbox One, get a PS4. Everyone was saying that. And my response was like, well, there was supposed to be a Gran Turismo game that launched with the PS4, and it's delayed. And so I waited. And Gran Turismo just was like, kept just getting delayed. Or, it just wasn't coming out. And Xbox came along with this, which was this, Forza Motorsport 6. It was a limited edition console. And then I was like, and then they launched this along with that commercial that paid homage to all these old racing games, and including like Ridge Racer 2 was Ridge Racer was on there as well. There's a bunch of them. It's a really great commercial. So if you ever just have time, like go check out the Forza Motorsport 6 commercial. It's just a solid, just like I think the best racing commercial that I've ever seen for a video game. So, or at least one of them. So, anyway, so I was like, I'm going with this. When this finally came out, I'd been kind of waiting on an Xbox One or a PS4, and then I was like, I'm going to give it this one. So I got the whole bundle, and this is like the main purpose I jumped onto the Xbox One side of things initially. I eventually got a PS4, and I do have a PS4 Pro now, but like I went with Xbox first. But I also had been on Xbox 360 where I paid for a bunch of digital games, so I was already kind of in that ecosystem. But I really just appreciated Forza because I had played Forza on the 360 as well. And what Forza was great, not only were they releasing Forza Motorsport games on a release cycle, which are the more sim racing titles, they were also releasing Forza Horizons games on that same cycle. So it was like Motorsport would come out, and then you get the Horizon game, and then you get the next Motorsport game, and then you get the next Horizon game. And so it kept everybody happy, and everybody always had a new game to play, but which was, to me, was a winning formula, So I own Forza 7 as well, but Forza 7 came out like many years ago at this point. Like after they released Forza Motorsport 7, they basically just they got away from their release cycle. They got away from releasing games on a normal schedule. The Forza games, Forza Horizon games, those were really fun. But to me, the last, I guess maybe it's the latest game. They did this thing where the weather would change on a cycle, and you couldn't do anything about it. Like previously, like you could change the weather yourself, or you could drive to places on the Horizon map where it was like winter time, or you could go to the beach, area and different things. So you could control the weather as you liked it, to whatever you wanted it to be. So if you lived in somewhere that was like cold and like snow everywhere, maybe you want to be playing in snow because it kind of it's like your environment, or maybe that's the last thing you want to do. You might be living in a snowy environment and you want to like escape to like the virtual beach. So you used to be able to control that, but the latest Forza Horizons game, like they just made it much more like, I guess, reliant on, I don't know, the cloud, and where you had less control over the environment, which to me was just like annoying. I didn't like it, and I didn't buy the latest Forza Horizon game for that reason. Some people will say, well, you should give it a shot, it's a great game. No, I don't like that feature. That's enough for me personally to stay away from it. So I'm not doing it. If it's like, if there's ever like an extreme discount, then maybe I'll jump into it, but I have no desire. I'm happy with the older Forza Horizon games, of which there are plenty. So this one here, now that we've gotten to this latest Forza Motorsport, we finally have a release date, which we knew for a little while now, but not that long. So it is releasing not next month. Anyways, it's October 10th. And part of me feels like just really annoyed that it took them this long to release the game. I liked that they were on a cycle. I liked that you could predict when the next game was coming out. Because when the games come out, you get real feedback from real players, and then the idea is that you respond to that real feedback, and you give people what they're looking for. People complain about something, then they can fix it if they want to keep their customers, kind of a thing. Those complaints are legitimate, obviously. Whereas when they have so much time to like develop a game, it's concerning. It's concerning. I have the same concerns with Hellblade 2. It's just like it's taking too long to to develop and release. But sticking with Forza, I just don't know. I just like their argument is that it was built from scratch. They completely built the game, brand new engine, all this kind of stuff. So it's going to take longer, which makes sense. If you're working on an older engine, like, it would make sense. It's going to take a little bit longer, but I mean, it took a long time. Long time. And it's like, I feel like they just took too long. That's part of like my problem with it. So this game now is like, it's also like they're asking for, I think, they're asking for $100 for this premium edition with let's say 5 days early access. Ooh, wow. I mean, the fact that it's been so long, it's like so many years, like 5 days, it's not going to make a difference. The race day car pack. I really hate, also, this is part of a rant of like, DLC used to be a thing that you would buy after the game. Like now, all these games are released with multiple versions, and to me, it causes too much. It's decision fatigue, right? And this is not a Forza specific thing. This is just a video game thing, where it's like, I don't know what the race day car pack is. I don't know what the car pass is. I don't know what the VIP membership is. And I don't know what the hell the welcome pack is. Are you telling me that I don't get a welcome pack unless I buy the premium edition? So, okay, well, the race day car pack features 8 new to Forza built... New to Forza cars built for the track. The car pass delivers 30 new to Forza cars to your game weekly. And then, I don't know, you're getting these VIP rewards, 2x credits, Forza 5 edition cars, and more. It's like, okay. Like, clearly all this is telling me is like, all this is saying is like, hey, we have a bunch of microtransactions. You know, like, you're gonna if you don't, even if you do start with the digital premium edition version, excuse me, then like there's still gonna be stuff locked behind a paywall. It's not like they're giving you everything, because they could just say for $100 you get everything. That's how it used to be really like, and it wasn't $100 either. Now it's like you get some obscure things. We're not gonna really tell you what it is. It's like, okay, well, there's new to Forza cars, but like, which cars? Maybe there's cars I don't really care about, and I'm not gonna use them, so I wouldn't want this. But they don't even tell you, or at least unless I have to like sit here and read the fine print and like be a detective to try to figure out what the heck is going to be included in the game, which is annoying. So, I don't know. So here's a premium add-on bundle. I don't know. Requires games sold separately or Game Pass. Yeah, the bait. Don't get me started on Game Pass. Now we have a deluxe edition, which is $10 less, which has a car pass and these new to cars weekly. And now we have a standard version, which is $69. And I don't know. It's much more of an investment. Like $100 is not cheap. It's not. I understand the whole arguments about games take longer to make and yada yada yada, but it's at the same time, it's like the economy's like not great for normal people, generally speaking, and inflation and everything else. It's like, that's not a cheap price. So I just don't know. I think like after years and years and years and years of waiting for this stupid thing, I don't think that I'm going to purchase it at launch. I don't think that it's necessary. I think I'll wait and see what the reviews are like and basically go from there. It's like, I hope the game is great. I hope this redesign is everything that they say it's supposed to be. I really do hope it is. I mean, and again, this is coming from someone who owned a Forza Edition Xbox before, and also had a sim racing steering wheel to play said Forza. So, this is not. I'm just not just like randomly saying this. But I guess that's my thoughts. I'm really curious of what you guys think. Do you think it's going to be worth, spending $100 on this game? Or not? I think a lot of people will probably comment something about Game Pass. Well, it's available on Game Pass. Well, just can we not talk about Game Pass and just talk about the game? Like, that's what I'm interested in hearing about. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. I think we'll stop there here.